Hello there, sword friends. This is going to be a very rambly video about some channel stuff and review stuff. And I'll talk a little bit about channel things, and then I'll talk a little bit about things that I'm going to review and then I'm not going to review, and maybe some reasons why. Or maybe you can persuade me with your thoughts as well. Anyway, the first thing I want to address is that there's about 2,700 people that have subscribed to the channel, and frankly, I am humbled and taken aback by it. So first off, thank you. That's really the primary message there. If you have subscribed to the channel, I'm grateful for that. I'm humbled that you are even having a passing interest in what I have to say on a regular basis. So thank you. The other thing is that some folks have pointed out, why don't I have more subscribers? And I would argue that it's because I'm pretty laser focused on talking about swords from the perspective of buying them. And when I talk about that, a lot of people don't collect swords in the same way that I do, and a lot of other YouTubers delve into varying topics on history or other educational subjects or just different things, and I really stay focused on here's what I bought, here's why I bought it, here's why I think other people might like to buy it. And really, a lot of people don't buy more than one sword, whether it be for practicing, whether you're doing a martial art in some sort of context, or if you have one just because they're cool as hell, or if you're cutting one in your backyard. But you don't necessarily, a lot of people don't, I think, have a super big interest in the variety of products that are out there. I think it's more of a niche hobby. So I'm not surprised by 2,700 people. I'm again, kind of taken aback that many people have an interest in what I have to say. So thank you if you have. If you don't, I understand, as I've hopefully made apparent, and I'm going to move on. So 2,700 people. The next thing I'm going to talk about are the swords that I plan on reviewing in the not too distant future. One that I'm working on right now is this Ronin Elite Katana that I got some time ago, and this one was damaged a little bit. I'm wondering if it's a second-hand piece. Well, it is a second-hand piece because I bought it second-hand, but I wonder if it's like a factory second. Ronin does a scratch and dent sale from time to time, and I don't know if this one might be one of those scratch and dent pieces. Either way, I've done a little bit of cutting with it. I'm working on the review. I'm doing editing and all that fun stuff, and it just takes some time. The other thing I plan on doing a review on is this Albion Talhofer, which is a really fucking awesome sword. It's of the same typology of the Albion Mercenary that I have, and I thought it would be good to really compare and contrast the two of them together. This is something I'm going to be working on in the not too distant future, but I'm hoping to, I don't know, provide a little bit more context than I have. It's a very thrust-centric sword, and hopefully I can find some sort of medium that won't destroy the sword, but demonstrates its effectiveness in the thrust, more so than Tatami Mats would, or I don't know, maybe I won't. Anyway, this is on the docket, the list of things to do. Haven't really gotten very far, but it's on the list. This rapier, too, is on my list of things to review. I'm not sure how quickly I'm going to get to it, and frankly, I don't know how much I have to say about it. It's an interesting arms and armor rapier. I don't remember the exact name. It's like Will Wheaton rapier. I don't know. That's not the right thing. Anyway, it's on my list of things to talk about at some point. The other thing that I've been meaning to talk about are angel swords. I have what you might call a few of them. Like this one. And this one. It's actually a different one. And this one. And this one. A lot of people have also complained about Angel Sword and said that the fit and finish quality on them isn't fantastic. This is one that I had redone, and is basically one of their higher end katanas that's been remounted with antique fittings and has, well, received the same level of treatment that I put other custom katanas through. So new Hibaki, new Ska, new Saya, all of that malarkey. But this, underneath all this exterior, is an angel sword. I also have some of their, well, non-Japanese variants. One is an arming sword that's a European style, and there's some things that I like about it, but some things that I don't, and then whatever the hell this is. In terms of European swords, I also have this Dark Sword Armory, I don't know, hand and a half, 15th century hand and a half sword, I think is what this one is called. It's on my list of things to review. Not sure when I'm going to get to it, but I've got this one too. I also have the Albion Conan sword, the Atlantean as it were, and it's not a sharpened iteration, but I do plan on doing some sort of review type thing on it. You can see I also have some other pieces from Albion. Where's my camera? Here we go. There we go. Hands there. Haha! The Valyria and the Sabutai sword are in the background there as well. So I have a few pieces from Albion to review as it relates to movie type swords. The last thing that I have to do on my list of things that I know I'm going to review is this. It's a Blade Culture International Compulon. Now, Sword Friend Corey actually sent me a Christmas present, which happened to be this thing here, which frankly I was touched by. No one's bought me a sword in a very, very long time. And I don't, honestly, it was just very surprising and very, I don't know, it touched me in the feels, I guess you could say. So the point is, though, that I have this Blade Culture International Compulon to review, and it's kind of in direct comparison with the traditional Filipino Compulon. As I look at it in general, I mean, it looks very, very similar, but there are some touches on here that make me prefer this one just a little bit. Initially, when I looked at the price difference, it seemed like the differences aesthetically weren't compelling enough to necessarily justify the additional money, but I'm kind of reevaluating that. I still have yet to do any cutting or really anything functional with it, but I'm definitely going to get to it, and when I do, I will do a review on it. Now that's it for the things that I'm going to do a review on, but there's a number of things that I guess I could talk about that I'm not sure if I'm going to do a review on, and let me know if you have any thoughts on any one of them in particular. I'll kind of share my thoughts right now as I go through them, not in a full review scale, but basically if you want to hear more about any one of these, then throw something in the commentary below, and maybe I'll be persuaded to not make or to actually do a review on it. The reason is I'll try to justify why I'm not doing a review on each one of them as I go through it. Since I was talking about Compulons, this is one that I don't plan on doing a review on. This is a Hanwei Compulon, and it's something that went away a long, long time ago. Mine is in a state of disarray. It has some pitting and whatnot on it, but anyway, yeah, I'm not planning on doing a review on it, mostly because you can't buy it anymore. The point of reviews is really to do things on things that people can buy and help them decide how to spend their money, and these come up very rarely secondhand, and you can't buy them from Hanwei anymore. But if you do see one secondhand, this one is a lot thinner than most of the other pieces that are available. It's got a round handle, which is stupid and doesn't really help you actually do anything. And it's a goofy shape that doesn't have the same width handle-wise. It seems less historic than the historic pieces I have. In terms of history-wise, the blade profile is actually more accurate than the reproductions that I have otherwise, but the handle and grip are less so. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. If you see one, it's not bad. It's light, it's whippy, it's easy to move around. It's a little more dynamic like some of the historic ones were. But anyway, you can't buy them anymore. Continuing with Compulons, I have this Chris Cutlery Compulon, and really the reason I'm not going to review it is pretty much the same thing in that I don't think you can really buy this anymore. This was the first Compulon that I owned, and I really like it. But now I'm probably going to end up selling it because I got the other Compulon from Sword Friend Corey. Anyway, yeah, different profile, a little bit more historically accurate, but not necessarily a whole lot. I like it, but since you can't buy it anymore, there's really not a whole lot of purpose, and it's not as though they come up for sale secondhand frequently. The next thing that I'm going to tell you I'm not going to review is one that I'm a little on the fence about, and this is an Atrim 1555, or at least that's what I'm able to find about it. Now, this is a longsword made by Angus Trim, and it's really a doozy of a sword. I've used it, I've cut with it, and it is a phenomenal feeling sword. I really like it. But it seems like his work has evolved, and it's not as though you can buy something exactly like this anymore. I'm sure you can make something, but I think his work is improved in such a way that this doesn't really represent what you would get from Angus Trim anymore, and therefore I don't know that it really justifies reviewing, since you can't buy it as a model number, and what you can get is better. Yeah, those are reasons that I'm not planning on doing a review on it. Continuing on the Atrim train, that sounded better in my head. This is an Irish ring sword from Angus Trim that I picked up some time ago, and it is a really, again, very lively feeling, fun blade. I haven't done a whole lot by way of cutting. It's in a state of disarray. It's got Spielkes and whatnot on it. And again, it's pretty much the same thing. I think that his work has improved in such a way that this no longer is representative of what you would get from him. There are some finishing qualities that I don't like, kind of like where the Irish ring lays out here. But yeah, I got this secondhand. and it's feels great, but I don't think it's necessarily representative of what you would be able to buy today. It does have some notable things that seem consistent in terms of like how the hilt assembly is put on the sword. The long sword I have feels very similar. Some of the finishing characteristics, the secondary bevel, the sharpness level are all pretty consistent between the two. But I've had a myriad of things from Angus Trim, and I don't know, again, that this represents some of the new stuff that I've seen from him on his Facebook page. It seems to have an order of magnitude of improvement, and given that that's what you can buy now, I think it's probably not worth reviewing exactly. So let me know what you think. But anyway, very nice sword, feels great. For very similar reasons, I have a tough time thinking about what I'm going to do with this sword. This is a arming sword by Daniel Degardella. Hope I'm saying that right. Mad Dwarf Forge was the name this one went under when it was being made or for sale, but now it's under Cedar Lore Forge, or that's where David Degardella, I probably am messing it up. Anyway, a very pretty sword, very neat looking, very fun and agile to move around. The hilt has been redone with some Japanese nubuck leather or suede or something like that, but it's a really actually compelling feeling, fit and finish wise, and it's very pretty. Anyway, I don't think it exactly represents the sword that you would be able to buy now, so I'm on the fence about doing any kind of review on it, but it sure is pretty and feels good. This is a kukri from Nepalese Kukri House. I don't know a lot about kukris. This is something I've thought about reviewing, and it seems like you're actually able to buy one. I just don't know that I'm really qualified to talk about it. It's an interesting kukri though, and it's not terribly expensive. For what it is, it's interesting. I've got a pile of things here that I suppose I'm not going to review. One, this is the Sword of Tristan from the movie Stardust. I believe this is a replica made by Hanwei. It is a hefty, hardy chopper and almost hard to hold up. Not maneuverable or fun at all to wield, but functional nonetheless, and kind of cool. And I honestly really liked the movie. It reminded me of The Princess Bride in the sense that, I don't know, I can watch it just about any time and be entertained. I thought it was a great movie. Anyway, nevertheless, this sword is a functional reproduction, but I don't think you can buy it anymore, and the movie's not around, and I don't know if it's the same cult classic. Nevertheless, I don't know that it serves any purpose to review this, given that they're not really made anymore. Moving on from there, I have two prototypes from Ronin Katana that were made some time ago. There's a slew of new products that are coming out from them that are really, really cool, and I think these maybe had something to do with the R&D development. Now, I did make some videos about them, but I haven't destroyed them yet, and at some point I owe it to Ronin Katana to do just that. These will eventually be broken up, but they haven't just yet, and I'm finding the right reason to do it. But anyway, nevertheless, two prototypes from Ronin. You can't exactly buy them. I don't know exactly how they worked out, but there are some fun things. You've seen these in other videos, but I'm not really planning on doing a review. Again, these prototypes aren't things that you can actually buy, so it's just finding the right thing to break them on, because that's why I have them. These are two different things, though. This, I honestly don't know what it is. This is a sword from Museum Replicas that came with a belt. It's interesting in its overall presentation, but at the same time, I can't figure out really what it is. It's hollow ground. It's actually a really interesting feeling in terms of dynamics, but I don't know what it is. It's got a leather scabbard like a windlass would, but I don't think it's windlass. It's a little better constructed, but shows a lot of the same failure characteristics that windlass would. Anyway, since I don't know what it is, it's hard to review it. Or it's not really hard to review it, but it's hard to make it worthwhile if I don't know what it is, and you can't necessarily buy it anymore, and I can't find photos. So if you know what it is, throw it in the comments below. This is a practical longsword from Valiant Armory. I believe these were designed by Angus Trim, but yeah, it's the A-Trim practical longsword. So the blades, I believe, are made in China and assembled. I don't know if it's in the U.S. I can't remember exactly how their chain of stuff works. But anyway, this is a VA practical longsword. Again, I like Valiant Armory. I think they make some really cool stuff, but this is not something that you are able to buy anymore. So you can get something like it, something better. But again, I don't think it's really representative of what's available today. What you would get today is one, more expensive, and two, of a better quality. So I don't know that it really is worthwhile to to make a video on it, especially since these don't seem to come up for sale terribly often secondhand, so it's not as though they're flooded on the market or something that you're able to actually acquire readily. So yeah, anyway, not planning on doing a review on it. This is another piece whose origins I'm unfamiliar with. It's a sword breaker of some sort, or at least a parrying dagger, or however you want to call it, but it says India on it. At least it looks like the India has been kind of finely scrubbed off this section of the blade, and it's visible in some lights. Anyway, the point is that I don't know who made it, if it's a Delton or if it's a Windlass, and given that I don't know, it's tough to say if I should review it or not. There do seem to be similar wares available on Cult of Athena, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to do with it just yet. It looks cool though. This is a replica Shashka that I had gotten some time ago, and it appears to be made out of some sort of carbon steel or something functional. It's not a bad replica, but I don't know that you're actually able to go and buy them easily. So that kind of takes the kibosh on whether or not they're worth me reviewing. Also, it's a dull blade, so there's not really much to show you other than its assembly features, and its assembly is really not very good. If you're looking for a Shashka to hang on your wall because you're looking for a Shashka, it's not necessarily bad, but it's made out of plastic and the grip is shitty, and I don't know, it feels chintzy. Another in a long line of things that I'm probably not going to review is this Ronin Katana Chrome Killer. It's a big sword. It's not available to buy, so I don't know that it's worth it. It's big and fun, and it has this wire wrap that moves around under my fingers actually pretty easily, but underneath it appears to be wood. Anyway, it's a cool sword, and it's fun to move, but since you can't buy it, I've always been reluctant to do any actual review on it. Moving on to the Japanese style blades, this is in the wrong saya right now, but this is a Pope Practical Cutter. It's a sword that basically was designed by John Pope, and he's on YouTube, and he's a great cutter, and he, I guess, had some hand in designing this sword. And as cool as the blade is, and as sharp and as fun, it's been used, and that isn't necessarily a deterrent to me reviewing it. The point is that this thing has gotten a new ska on it, and the ska is not what I would call personally great, and it changes the dynamic of the blade, I think, quite a lot, and it's no longer representative of what it was, so I'm not going to review it as much as I would like to. The sharpness in the blade might be something worth talking about, but the handle is just so different that it's no longer really fair for me to compare how it feels in my hand or how well it functions to what it did originally. So yeah, it's not on the list to review. Along the same lines, there's this Gen 2 BWT katana, I think is what it is. It's basically really old. It reminds me a lot of a Chris Cutlery blade, and in some parts it almost looks folded, but I don't think it is. Anyway, when I got the sword, it was damaged and bent. I've since done my best to straighten it out, and the saya is not original to the blade. It used to come with this really interesting textural saya, and I don't have it for this one, so I'm not sure what to do with it. It's a very nice feeling sword in my hand, but I don't know how well it really exactly performs. And since you can't buy them anymore, or at least not easily, or they're not super common, it's not on my list of things to review. Though again, it does really remind me of the Chris Cutlery with Bohi katana that I had. Interesting, different hibaki, different tsuba, different material for Ito. As a katana offering, it was actually kind of compelling, so I'm kind of disappointed that they don't offer them anymore, because it was nice. Production katana wise, I have this bamboo mat wakizashi. It's a bamboo mat, but littler, because it's a wakizashi. Point is, though, that this is not something I'm going to review. It's a friend of mine is asking me to sell it on his behalf, so I might talk about it, but there's really not a lot to talk about with a wakizashi. They're tough to measure and find the nodes and all that kind of stuff because they're so rigid, and I don't know, it's just a lot harder to see on these than it is on a different sword. But the hamon is very pretty. It matches the bamboo mat, so if you have a bamboo mat katana, thematically this matches quite well. Also, it's a really good complementary blade to the bamboo mat. The bamboo mat katana is a little bit tip heavy in general, I really like it. This feels like a longer, but also kind of more whippy, light, nimble blade to complement the bamboo mat or katana, which is a little bit heavier. So it's stout. It's still a very kind of meaningful blade, but at the same time, it I think it complements the dynamic characteristics of its larger counterpart in the katana quite well. Handle wise, it has a katana handle on it. This is a big fucking wakizashi handle. It feels substantial, like the katana, very axe handly. Not my favorite. It almost seems like it has the exact same fittings in Fuchikashira, like they didn't make different ones for it, just a smaller Tsuba. So anyway, yeah, it's big in the hand though. So if you have a large glove size, it's not bad. It feels comfortable. If you don't, then it might be a bit large in the hand. Now this is one that I've done a review on. It's the Hanwei Oni Katana, but I happen to have another one and it's not messed up yet. So I'm debating if this is something I should do another review on. Should I revisit the Oni Katana or leave well enough alone? I think I've grown since I've done the Oni Katana. The video production quality that I make is at least one order of magnitude better, whether or not, I mean, it's certainly not professional, but it's better and easier to see. So maybe it's worth revisiting the Oni Katana. My opinions really haven't changed much. Beautiful looking Fuchikashira and Kurikata, and everything else is kind of dumb. It feels good for the size it is in the hand, but I don't have a whole lot of faith in this Hanwei L6 steel. And it's funny because L6 steel right now, I'm having a Howard Clark Tanto done up for me as a project, and it's an L6 blade, and the tang on the son of a bitch is so hard that it's giving the mounter that I'm using a lot of trouble just drilling a Makugi hole in the tang, which is supposed to be on the softer side, and it's so resilient. It's resisting cobalt bits, and it's resisting carbide bits and titanium bits, and nothing wants to drill through the stuff. So it seems to be a very resilient steel if you do it right, and I'm not at all confident that Hanwei does it right. So maybe it's worth redoing, but there's a lot of risk. I mean, this sword right now, if I want, I could sell it and get some money for it. Or I could keep it and, it's pretty and not fucked up and doesn't drive me crazy. Or I could cut with it and then, have it lose pretty much all of its value. So I'm not sure. I know what you guys would probably want, which is for me to break the thing in half and say ha ha ha. But despite what you might think, I don't have money to throw in a hole like that. I live in Minnesota. If I had that kind of money, I would just buy a boat. This is the Rick Barrett blade from my PSA video not too long ago. I'm thinking I might review it or at least talk about it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do until I get it done. It's a very beautiful blade though. It's got a very interesting hamon. I don't know if you can actually see it. So on one side here, it's got this wave pattern hamon. What is it, Atari or Gnome? I can't remember exactly which. Somebody will correct me. And then it transfers to a Seguha, or this flat hamon, kind of halfway through the blade, which is apparently something that was done in a school of sword making in Japan historically. Makes for, I don't know, it's really interesting though to see. It's pretty cool. In the realm of custom swords, I have this one as well. This is a custom cable steel katana from Michael Bell of Dragonfly Forge, I believe. And this isn't one I've spent a lot of time with, got it relatively recently. It's got some imperfections and whatnot, but overall, it's a cable steel katana done by Michael Bell. And it's, I don't know, it's got some interesting characteristics for sure. It certainly does pop out well. It's got a beautiful polish on it. It's got some blemishes and whatnot, but still a very, very pretty blade. Moving on to less pretty blades, and one that I'm really strongly debating reviewing, is this Ataya Kitetsu. Now this is something I'm selling on behalf of actually a high-level practitioner of Toyama Ryu. This is the Kitetsu, which is kind of like the cutting blade, and it's just out of sharpening. So you can see it's got some blemishes near the base of the blade where you don't get cut a lot. Nobody's cutting with it a lot. It's got kind of its original polish, and then as you go up, it's pretty much removed. So it's been sharpened. It's received a fresh sharpening, but it's been used a lot. And anyway, the main point is that this is I suppose if you're doing Toyama, or if you're doing anything competitively where you're cutting tatami mats, this is kind of the lawnmower of choice. It's got a wide, kind of thinner blade profile, not a lot of distal taper, just a meaty, hefty blade for chopping tatami mats. And it might be interesting to examine the dynamic properties that make this what it is, a very effective tatami cutting blade, and proportionally why it is what it is. The thing is that you are able to buy a Hataya Katetsu now from Nihonzashi if you would so choose. They're about $3,000 brand new, or you can buy this one secondhand if you want. The thing is that they're all a little bit different. They don't have the same fittings, the same fit and finish, the same feel. They're different lengths, so I don't know if it's exactly going to be worth the effort and energy to review it when you'll definitely never get one that's exactly the same thing as this one is. You might get close, but definitely horseshoes and hand grenades there. A gram of weight is also, as we've discussed, can really change the dynamic feeling of a blade. So what information you could garner, I'm not exactly sure if it would be valuable, but I'd be interested to hear if you'd like me to review it or not. I mentioned cable steel blades. This is a blade by Christian Griazzi. It's a cable steel katana. He was a student for a time of Michael Bell, katana that I brought out just a moment ago. So this is a cable steel blade, but done in a heavier etch, a little bit differently, has a few more flaws. Nevertheless, it's one that I'm not planning on reviewing because I don't think he is making katanas anymore, and I'm not sure how valuable the information would be. This is a Rick Barrett folded steel katana. Absolutely stunning polish, one of the most beautiful polishes that I've seen on a modern blade. It looks wet almost. I mean, it's absolutely stunning. So this is a beautiful blade. Unfortunately, this is kind of on hold for somebody now. So I had planned on maybe doing a project or something with it, but I'm not going to do it anymore because it's pretty much somebody else's at this point. Anyway, it's real pretty. On the realm of custom katanas here, this is a Lone Wolf katana by Ron Chen. Ron Chen is notably the son of Paul Chen, I believe. He runs Saki Forge out of, where is his forge? Taiwan, I believe. Anyway, a very accomplished swordsmith, very pretty blade. He is still currently making swords. You can actually buy one. I don't know why I haven't reviewed this one, actually. It's probably something I should review. You can't buy this exact sword, but he's certainly a sword maker that's still producing stuff, and he comes to the U.S. for Blade Show from time to time. So, yeah. Anyway, this is a sword he made. Maybe I should review it. Maybe this should be in a different part of the list. I don't know. I haven't reviewed it yet. I've had it for a while. Anyway. Well, I think I've rambled on long enough and hit my ceiling enough times. I do have a few other swords that I'm thinking about or kind of on the fence on. There's a few more in this, on the walls that you can probably see. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence on some of them, and others I guess I plan on reviewing. The point is, though, that if you have any critiques or comments on the ones that I've shared with you or shown you, throw them in the commentary down below if you'd like to see more, have questions on them, or if you think it's worth a full-scale review. I think I've stated effectively why I want to do the ones I want to do and which ones I don't want to do, but maybe I'm off in my thinking. Maybe there is some value where I'm not seeing it, and if there is, I'd be interested to hear your opinions and thoughts. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for listening to me ramble, and as always, cheers, and thanks for watching.